It's time to pick a side. The border war is on the air with BG TanMan.
Gang, welcome into episode 140 of the Border War. It does not seem like it's been that long. You can follow us on Twitter at the Border War.
Seems like it's been that long to me.
Well,
been a rough couple of seasons.
It's been a rough few weeks at the very least for you. I am at Tar Heel TanMan. He is at BG_Border War. If you tweet BG looking for a fight, beware. His Twitter handle is he's currently a little jumpy with issuing threats over Twitter, so we'll just leave that at that. We're on Facebook at the Border War. You can follow us there. Basically anywhere where podcasts are available. BG, it's good to be back, man. I missed last week. You know, stuff happens. You held the fort down for us.
I don't think you would have gotten to talk anyway.
No, and that's pretty much why I thought, look, man, I'm just going to let you have it because it was such a bad week a couple weeks ago. I was just like, I'm just going to let BG run with this one, man. But he did. Before we get started, listen, man, we've got the Dallas Cowboys laying an egg on Sunday night. We've got the Carolina Panthers. Kyle Allen staking claim to the job, maybe. We got some Redskins talk. I don't know why, but before we get started, I give a special shout out to my guys, Rob Gaw at Southern Exposure Construction. Listen, if you guys need any construction work, remodeling work done
in the upstate of South Carolina.
He may travel. I don't know. Give him a call. I can personally vouch for his work. It's fantastic. BG saw it. Jaw dropped, hit the floor. Looks like $1 million. Give Rob a call at 864-621-3625. If he answers the phone and you need some work done, tell him TanMan sent you.
And this is,
I don't know if it'll do you any good, but you can tell him I sent you.
And just so you know, unlike some shows, like when he says he used him, he really did. Yeah. There are some guys around here that would have you believe they eat at 9 to 10 restaurants a day.
And will peddle any amount of tater tots that you put in front of them.
Tater tots and chili dogs. But anyway.
Oh, chili dogs. The weather.
Somebody's been eating some chili dogs.
Yeah.
I know that
so,
much.
BG, listen, week 4 is in the books.
I'm thinking about that picture, man.
Which one? I've sent you several.
The chair picture.
Oh, I wish I still had that.
The yellow mushroom.
Oh, gosh. Listen, week 4 of the NFL season this is gone. We've been on air for 2 minutes and 55 seconds, and it's gone off the rails.
Let's start. I want to do the Redskins last.
You want to do the Redskins last?
Yeah.
Because I had like this whole opening thing.
Well, the problem with doing them first is I'm worried I might take up.
Don't worry. I'm going to hit the buzzer. We're going to get it all covered. Don't worry. We got time.
All right.
Listen, the race to the number 1 pick in the draft is underway in the nation's capital. You guys sit at 0-4,
and we play the Dolphins in 2 weeks.
Wait, listen. That's it. Like that's the number 1 pick bowl, right? We're gonna call it now. We're
that
trademarking.
Could be an intriguing game to see.
Yes,
how people try to lose that.
I'm trademarking it now. The number 1 pick bowl in a couple weeks. But before that, you guys have a date with the blue bloods of the NFL right now, the New England Patriots. I guess I have no idea how you're gonna avoid going 0-5. So my question to you is, we saw Sunday afternoon, a little bit into the game, the Dwayne Haskins era, along with that race to number 1 has begun. BG, you didn't think it'd come so soon.
No.
I thought before this, look, when Jay Gruden's job is on the line, throw this guy in there. That way you can go, look, man, we're trying something new here.
I don't think that has
What are your thoughts on the move?
Okay, so I think, let's back up a little bit. All right, so Gruden, I think it's pretty widely known now, did not want to draft Dwayne Haskins. No one on the offensive coaching staff wanted to draft Dwayne Haskins. Not because Haskins wasn't a great player, but because they thought he wasn't ready. He hadn't played enough snaps.
And he looked pretty rough Sunday.
And Bruce Allen and Dan Snyder wanted to draft him, and so they pulled rank. There's your first round pick. So then, Jay Gruden, who I'm not overly fond of, but I honestly do think, well, here's the thing.
Could have fooled me.
I mean, he has to be fired, and I think he will be probably the day after the Patriots loss. That'd be my guess. That's what a lot of people are saying now. I'm not breaking anything new. But, you know, if you're going to hire a coach, you got to let him play the game his way. And he hasn't been allowed to do that. Just like Shanahan wasn't allowed to handle the RG3 situation the way he wanted to. Now Gruden hasn't been able to handle this Dwayne Haskins situation. I personally think that he knows that he's gone.
That he's done.
And
right?
that him throwing Dwayne Haskins out there was nothing but a middle finger to Dan Snyder saying, there's your boy. What do you think? Honest to God, I put hand on the Bible.
No,
that's what I think happened.
No, you're basically what you're talking about is.
Well, you couldn't leave Case Keenum out there. Colt McCoy wasn't ready. He wasn't healthy yet. Who you had? I mean, so. But,
all right, time back up. You obviously you watched the game a lot more closely than I did. When did they bring Haskins in?
Oh,
it was early, right?
Early in the second quarter.
All right, it was fairly early in the game. Go look at Case Keenum's numbers. And we talked about this the other week. You're not losing because of Case Keenum. His numbers and Tom Brady's numbers, go look them up. They are eerily similar.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, but
really similar.
Keenum was turning the ball over again to start the game.
All right, look, but you're telling me that he's basically going to commit career suicide. And he's going to...
No, I don't think anybody thinks that. I think it's just you're saying you're the owner. You want him to play. For all I know, Dan Snyder went to him before the game and said, I need to see Haskins play today.
Well, look, if you're but that's different, though. If the picture you're painting is...
No, all I'm saying...
He takes Haskins and says, screw it, get out there. That's it. There it is. And I don't think that happened.
Well, I don't think it's impossible. I also don't think that... I don't think it was... All I'm arguing is that he did not do that to save his job because he can't save his job, and he knows that. It's over.
When you sit at 0-4 and you've got the Patriots coming up, you're going to be... Not even the Dolphins the following week are going to save you. Like, if he doesn't get fired Monday, he's going to get fired some Monday.
No, I think he's going to get fired the Monday after. And the only reason he's not getting fired right now is because you don't want to throw Kevin O'Connell in there as the interim head coach against the Patriots.
You want to let him have the Dolphins.
Well, yeah, and so that's the reason we're not going to get the 1 overall pick. Because if I had to guess right now, and we have a new head coach to play the Miami Dolphins, we'll win that game handily because that locker room is going to shift quickly. Gruden isn't... Look, I don't know. Let's just call it for what it is. This all comes back to Dan Snyder.
Well, doesn't everything in Washington come back to Dan Snyder?
Yeah,
all the problems in Washington.
And his right-hand man, Bruce Allen. Jay Gruden hasn't really been given a fair crack, and I don't think any of us will ever actually realize the ways that his coaching tenure have been compromised under Dan Snyder and Bruce Allen. But they have been, and honestly, I don't know who you can go get. Who's going?
Look, I think you're making a little bit. You're taking that one a little too far because listen, if Alex Smith doesn't break his leg and his career basically ends at is Jay Gruden the Redskins coach for the next 10 years? No, probably not.
Probably not.
But he's not getting fired. He's not getting fired in a week either.
Well, I mean, who knows what would have even happened last year? I mean, we were in first place in the division when that happened.
This whole Haskins, when Alex Smith went down, that basically, to me, was the end of Jay Gruden's tenure in Washington. Like, if you wanted to draft Haskins and you weren't. They picked up Smith. They traded for Alex Smith.
But if you're Dan Snyder and you really thought that was your guy, there are really good franchises that would have stuck with their coach through that. But the problem is, in Washington, with Haskins, what you have is a civil war being fought on both sides of this kid.
And we've already
which is why you haven't seen Jay Gruden come out and say one nice thing about the guy. Yeah, Dwayne's got work to do. He's in the locker room. What is that? And then look at the New York Giants. For all that we talked about them being a dumpster fire in the offseason, I've often said that family runs a stable organization. And I think in the long run, to be honest with you, I think Haskins and Daniel Jones are going to end up not being very good quarterbacks in this league. But
I disagree on Daniel Jones, but yeah. I think he's gonna.
I think he's going to be Andy Dalton. I think he's going to be a multi-year starter. He's going to win a lot of games. I don't think he's going to do anything beyond that. But again, I'm just basing that off of the fact that what you see from rookie quarterbacks when they take off, Deshaun Watson, right? His first 4 or 5 games were like, oh my God, this guy's going to win 8 Super Bowl. No, it's going to back off some. People are going to get 10 games worth of film on you, and then they're going to give you something to think about. But when you look at the Steelers, let's take the Steelers, all right? So last night, they win a game handily. They're 0-3 going into it. That team looks nothing like the Washington Redskins at 0-3. The Redskins look like a team that shouldn't even be on the field.
Nobody. There are like 3 teams that look like the Redskins right now.
But let's talk about this though. Historically, under Gruden, this has been a 500 team until this year, right? It's just been the Redskins they're 9-7, then they're 7-9, then they're 8-8, then they're 9-7.
Well, the difference between him and Jason Garrett is that Jason Garrett has been able to sprinkle in some 10, 11 win seasons in between there. Right? Is that fair?
That's fair. But my point being is, it goes beyond the football field in Washington. It goes to a meddling owner who never really lets his coach be in control. The difference is in Dallas, Jerry seems to have found a coach that's fine with that. I mean, that's the difference. I don't see anything changing in Washington until Danner is somehow convicted to sell this team or has a heart attack or whatever. Because, I mean, Bruce Allen is in his 10th year. We are 44 games under 500 during his 10-year tenure. This is a team, I mean, let's go back to this, man. 5 Super Bowl appearances, 3 Super Bowl wins. I don't know, 16 or 17 NFC East titles. You inherited a juggernaut and you've turned it into an utter laughingstock. Literally a laughingstock. And the only common denominator is Dan Snyder.
Well, look, we may have to give the Redskins the North Carolina football treatment from last year. Well, we're just not going to talk about them because I look at this schedule.
No, I was just thinking the same thing. I look at coming this over today. I don't want to keep doing this.
It's not going to be. You've got the Patriots, then you get a get-well game against the Dolphins. Like we sit here today, can you tell me with 100% confidence we're going to beat the Dolphins in a couple weeks? I can't.
I think if Gruden's not the head coach, I think there's a really good chance.
Well, you think that, but it could also go completely the other way too. You never know.
You don't know what the guys in the locker room actually think.
Right. Yeah, and after that, the 49ers, who are a lot better than people thought they would be. I see a trip to Minnesota.
Not better than I told you, man. Yeah. I told you the 49ers were going to be.
You don't think if Kirk Cousins has one great game this year, who do you think it's going to be against?
No, it's
going to be Washington. And then you got the Lions, the Panthers, you've got the Packers in there.
And then 3 teams in the NFC East you've already lost to.
I've got a hard time believing that they get out of this season somehow with more than 2 wins. What a mess. Right move or wrong move? Haskins starts this week. Yes or no?
No, not if Gruden's the head coach and the kid's going out there. He hasn't even been working with the first team offense, TanMan. He's been running the scout team. He has literally not even been running Redskins offensive plays in practice.
Here's my only problem with that.
I know what you're going to say.
Once you put him in, that's it. It's like opening up a soda can. Once you open up the soda can, it's open. You can't close it. You got to drink it. You got to drink it. You can't close it back up. If you're taking Case Keenum out because you were unhappy with his performance, it's not an injury thing. And to me, I had this discussion.
Why even come out and say he might not start? Why even say that?
I had this discussion Saturday when it happened with my pop, and I said, look, even if it is an injury thing, because he made the argument, well, if he's hurt, you can go back. I said, no. If this was just another backup quarterback, then yeah, he gets his job back. But this is not just another backup quarterback. This is a guy you went out and you spent a first-round pick on. This is a guy that you're more tuned in than I am. You say that this is Daniel Snyder's guy, then he's Snyder's guy. We saw what happened the last time Snyder had a guy, right?
Yeah.
You put him in. Listen, you need to find out now, because if he can't play, and you're going to be at the top of that draft next year, you're going to be. You need to be in search of another quarterback, because if it's not going to be this guy, I want to know now. I don't want to do this again next offseason. I want to know now.
Well, that was my argument.
So put him in.
Up
He's
until
in.
right now.
Let it go.
I think you're right.
Let it go.
But I don't think it. I don't want to say it's the right thing to do, because I don't think there is a right thing to do at this point.
No. Listen, they're kind of screwed no matter which way they go.
They really are.
But
I mean, you watched what Gilmore and those Patriots are doing right now against.
If you don't have the Patriots defense and you can go and pick them up in fantasy football, I encourage you to do so immediately. Immediately.
They are doing things that defenses don't usually do.
Speaking of tough spots, BG, up in Charlotte, I'm sure you saw some of it. Listen, Kyle Allen.
Is this really that tough of a spot?
I think it kind of is, and I'll bring it up. Listen, Kyle Allen leads the Panthers to a second straight win. This time in Houston over the Texans, BG. Look, man, the easy thing is, when Cam comes back, he is going to get his job back, but I don't know. I don't think it's a done deal, man. I really don't.
Be.
I really don't. Look, to me, the Panthers are, you want to talk about being in a tough spot, kind of being screwed. I think the Panthers are right there. If Kyle Allen continues this, right, the NFC South, despite how fantastic and unbelievable the New Orleans Saints look Sunday night, the NFC South is wide open.
8-8 might win that division.
Right, the NFC South is wide open. And other than the Atlanta Falcons, like all three of the other teams have looked fully capable at times of doing
Let me prove your point. If I said right now, is there a chance the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win that division, you'd have to think about it.
Well, they just hung almost 60 on the Rams.
You would have to think about it.
Yeah. But with Carolina, to me, they're at a real turning point, not only for this season, but even for the franchise, BG, because if Kyle Allen...
Well, certainly Ron Rivera is.
Yeah, if Kyle Allen continues to play well, I think they're going to stay in that playoff hunt. If they stay in the playoff hunt, Cam Newton comes back as their car on the list, Frank injury. I'm not sure if he had surgery. He could be back in 6 to 8 weeks if he hadn't. If he has, it's pretty much a wrap. But let's say he's healthy for the last month of the season. You're in the middle of a playoff hunt, which means Kyle Allen's been doing his job. Are you taking him out?
I don't see
how you do.
And again, look, Cam hasn't looked like Cam
for a couple years.
3 years, man.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
2015, we've said it before, 2015 Cam is gone. He's not that guy. But on the other hand, if you're Carolina and you don't play well, then obviously he's not, you're not going to bring him back.
Well, if he doesn't keep playing well, this is easy.
Right. Well, to me, if he doesn't play well, are you going to bring Cam Newton back for a team that's going to go 6-10?
Well, I mean,
and the answer is no. But that puts you in a spot next offseason.
This season?
Yes.
Oh, I think you do.
I don't think you do.
Well, I don't think I do, but I think they do.
If you're not in the playoff hunt, you leave Cam Newton on the bench. But does that put Carolina in a situation where they feel like they have to go out and then maybe give Cam Newton a contract that a year from now, a year and a half from now, they don't feel real comfortable about, just because they're not going to be at the top of the draft, and so they go out and give Newton that deal where they almost immediately regret it.
Look, people want to say, I get the argument where people say, man, when have you ever heard somebody talk about a soon-to-be 31-year-old quarterback being washed up in the league? The problem is that Cam, and we sound like a broken record on the show. We have never seen him develop his downfield passing game. Just hasn't. His ability to stand in the pocket, to be patient, to read defenses, to take what the defense gives him, to not push the football, to not take off with the football. And his body has paid the price for taking off with the football, even a 265-pound quarterback. And he's not going to learn to do that now. That window is shut. I think you've seen. Now, has he been healthy? Probably not. But we've also seen him throw the ball 45, 50 yards down the field inaccurately. But, I mean, his sideline 12-yard routes to wide-open guys trying to two-toe the line are inaccurate.
Look, this is a huge stretch coming up for Carolina. The news came out today. Defensive tackle Kawan Short, he's done for the year with a torn rotator cuff. Look, Cam Newton is standing on the sideline, and this is going to be a cloud. And look, we went through it a couple years ago with Dak Prescott and Tony Romo.
Yeah.
And I said, I think it was after the Seattle game in week 3 or week 4. We went to Seattle and won, and I said then, listen, it's over.
Yeah.
I'm a Tony Romo guy. I said, no, you cannot go back. You cannot pull the switch. Like, this is the dude. I don't know if Kyle Allen is the dude for the next 7 or 8 years at Carolina. But if he keeps them hanging around that playoff stretch, come the last month of the season and he's still playing well, I don't think you can go back to Cam Newton.
Well,
I don't think you can. And coming up, they've got Jacksonville coming up this week. Maybe no Jalen Ramsey. I don't know what's going on with that situation. I think they go to London to play the Buccaneers in one of those overseas games. They go to San Francisco, and then they get the Titans at home before going up to Green Bay. So the next 4 games, I think, for Carolina are going to be key. And I think this is a serious crossroads for the Panthers, not only for this season, but again, I think it could be a crossroads for the franchise going forward in general.
And keep in mind, the wild card here is brand new owner, man.
Yeah.
Nobody knows his football views. Maybe he has none. Yeah. Maybe he's a good owner and stays out of the locker room. Or maybe he's not. We don't know. We don't know.
I love Daniel Snyder.
I'm sure you do.
I do.
There have been times I've loved Jerry Jones.
You don't love Jerry Jones now.
No, I don't love how a 4th-round draft pick just drops out of the sky, lands in his lap.
But for the 12 years before that, it was an undrafted kid that fell out of the sky and into his lap. Yeah, Thank you, Bill Parcells. Shout out. Much love. Mwah, mwah.
All right. Okay, that's it for this week's show.
We got the picks, but you just want to completely avoid the Cowboys' disaster on Sunday. You don't even want to talk about the Cowboys.
It's not a disaster. It's not a disaster. It's just a loss.
It was not good, man.
Well, no,
it was not good.
And yeah, on paper you say, and it's true. You lost to a backup quarterback. Now, I don't know if Teddy Bridgewater is really a backup quarterback.
So I heard that today. Teddy Bridgewater's not a backup quarterback. What Teddy Bridgewater is a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Let's rewind
is a backup.
Let's rewind the clock about 8 months and remind everybody what BG wanted to do with Teddy Bridgewater. Anybody remember?
Didn't you want to trade for him?
Yeah, I wanted him in Washington.
You wanted to go get him. I know that.
Do you think we'd be a little better off with Teddy Bridgewater right now?
Yeah. I don't know. That's not even. That's like the understatement.
Is Teddy Bridgewater 30 years old? No, he's not. He's 27. Come on, man. What are we doing?
Listen, either him or Taysom Hill will be available, I'm sure. Because in the preseason, Taysom Hill in New Orleans, he was the guy that he was all. There's always some guy in camp that catches all the buzz. It was him.
Well, the trending hashtag for DC right now, the Redskins fans are pushing.
What?
Hire Lewis. Everybody wants Lewis Riddick as the GM.
One. Wasn't he there before?
He wasn't the GM. They passed him.
Well, but he was in the organization before.
He was.
And 2, why the heck would he leave the job he's got now? When he looks over in Oakland and sees Mike Mayock doing the same thing. Well, I'm going to stay right where I'm at, man.
I think you and I see it that way. I think that's the difference between guys like Lewis Riddick and us. And
I would love it.
Word on the street is that Riddick and Dan Snyder are like good. Like they're fond of each other. So, but that's what it's going to take.
Well,
it's going to take a GM that Snyder trusts and that is also competent.
I wouldn't want another Snyder crony in the front office. I think he got one too many as it is.
Well, no, but he would be replacing the main one.
Well, now he'll still be around somehow.
No, you're right. He'd be business operations, the president of the club.
Yep. He'll be quarterback coach. Down in New Orleans Sunday night, listen, the Cowboys, they couldn't run the football. When you can't run the football, listen, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out you're going to struggle passing. All the goodwill and excitement I think Kellen Moore engineered over the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Boy Wonder kind of got brought back to earth a little bit. BG.
A lot of this was Sean Payton, man.
A lot of it was Sean Payton. Look,
that coaching staff can make anybody look bad.
I thought they did a great job of getting physical with our wide receivers. They got physical up front with us, and look, we just simply weren't ready for the test. We had the 2 costly fumbles before halftime around midfield that really cost us. But to me, going forward, I said before the year, if you can come out of this stretch 1-1 between New Orleans and Green Bay, it sits at 4-1, then you can kind of get going from there. To me, that almost makes this Green Bay game this upcoming week a must-win. Is it too early for a must-win game?
Yeah, it is. I get what you're coming at because you've got Super Bowl in your head, right? But it's a long season. I think that it's important though for your offense to look good, win, lose, or draw. Like you don't want to have another game where Dak has one of these I'm struggling to get to 200 yards passing kind of things. And he sort of went to that late in the fourth quarter.
Well,
I think he broke about 225.
Well, when your
and Zeke could not run the football.
What I was when your MVP running back has 35 yards, then that's not on Dak. It takes a whole team to be as bad offensively as they were Sunday night.
Now, to play devil's advocate here, when you're asking for $40 million, you need to be able to be that guy.
I agree.
You've got to step up and be that guy.
I agree. I
mean, Tom Brady has had plenty of years where they didn't have a running game at all. I'm just saying, if that's the money you want, you had better step up and do it versus somebody other than the Redskins and the Dolphins.
Well, look, we said after week 1, he had the cojones to walk in the office and ask for $40 million. He played like it. The same is true of the flip side. You can't. When things aren't going well, you've got to find a way. And Sunday night they couldn't do it.
Because your defense kept you in that game.
No doubt.
I mean, that's the bottom line. If Drew Brees had been playing in that game,
well, listen,
might have been ugly.
Well, again, last year Drew Brees did play, and we won 13-10. And look,
we've talked about Brees. I mean,
I think they were content to play that same type of game. I think Chris Collinsworth even said it early on, like, this feels a lot like last year's game. And they couldn't make the play at the end to do it. I disagree with you. I think this game at when Green Bay comes to Dallas next week, it's early, but I think it is a must-win because.
Well, let's say, what do you think happens if you lose it? What are the repercussions?
Well, the repercussions are when they lost, and some of it has to do with their loss to Philadelphia. Because if they had beaten Philadelphia, that would have really given you a little bit more of it. Now Philadelphia is back on your heels in the division. But 2, let's say New Orleans wins the division. Let's say they win the South. If you lose to Green Bay, you only get those teams one time. Come playoff time, you're looking at a possible trip back to Lambeau in January. So I don't want to go to Lambeau in January. I want them to come to Dallas.
Are you defining this then as you're saying it's a must-win if you want a 1 seed?
I don't even think a 1 seed. I just think if you want to avoid having to go to Lambeau Field,
right?
Yeah, I'll go to New Orleans. I'll even go to Los Angeles. The one place I don't want to go is Green Bay.
Because Green Bay seems like they've got everybody in that division's number right now.
They do. And that's the one place that come playoff time, if we're on the road, that even if I think we're better than them, like I don't want to do that, man. No. I've had enough. They're kind of like Kansas basketball playing North Carolina. Like, I'm kind of tired of losing to Kansas. I'm kind of tired of losing to the Packers in the playoffs, right? So to me, you have to have this one. You have to have this one. Otherwise, you're staring right down the barrel of another trip to playing in ice up in Wisconsin in January.
Right.
You got to have this one. Just my opinion. I don't know. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I'm judging it differently from you. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I mean, obviously, right now, I'm wondering if my team's going to win 2 or 3 games, or any. So,
and look, and that's the thing. Listen, if you lose this one, again, you let Philadelphia back in this thing. Let's say Philadelphia wins the division, BG. Let's say the Eagles win the division, which is absolutely possible.
Sure.
Right now, basically everybody in the NFC North is tied.
Right.
You have the NFC West, where you've got the Rams.
And I think
you've got the Seahawks, and you've got the 49ers who are hanging around there.
All of those are good teams.
I feel like the West is going to get one of these spots if you're Dallas.
And all of them are going to. Well, the good news is the Cardinals being 2 wins for all those guys are going to be offset by you all getting 2 wins against the Redskins. So that's
true.
But I see what you're saying. The Rams look a little off right now. I mean, it's just one game, but Jared Goff, being one of my fantasy quarterbacks, he ain't had a great game yet.
No, but like I said, all I'm saying is the NFC has got, they've probably got, I would say, 10 teams for 6 playoff spots, and knock on wood, heaven forbid you play around with some of these games that you should win, or the schedule gets tougher and you drop some of these games on the back end. What if you're sitting there at 10-6? Maybe 10-6 doesn't get you in.
I don't think it's impossible for the Panthers to turn around and win 10 games.
I don't, and that's one of the things that's scary.
I don't think that's impossible.
10-6 might not get
what
you a
wild card.
What
did we talk about with them a couple weeks ago? I told you, I said the real shame about how bad Cam is playing is how talented the rest of this team is. Well, if they get Josh Allen to just go out there and be Andy Dalton, right? Just don't throw a pick, man. If they're going to win some games.
If Christian McCaffrey holds up, because
they
used him, they ran him like a dog on Sunday.
Yeah.
If he holds up and Kyle Allen doesn't turn the ball over, he's not terrible, then Carolina could win 9 games, 10 games.
Yeah.
But, all right. On to the picks for the week. Last week, if you didn't catch the previous episode, I go 5-5. BG goes 6-4. So he finally gets out of that 3-7 rut. Did it mainly on the back of his NFL picks. He trails by 3 games, so let's get started. The same way we started the show. Let's talk about the Redskins, BG.
Yay!
They get 16 points. They get 16 points.
Which is a huge spread in the NFL.
You lay down some money right off Jump Street. The Redskins are up 16-0 on New England.
How is there a line on this game when we don't even know who the starting quarterback is? How is this okay?
We know who the starting quarterback is.
We do not. I'm gonna surprise you, and I'm gonna take the Patriots. I know that's shocking.
You don't want the 16?
They win by 21 points if the Redskins play pretty well.
I was gonna say, and if they don't, it might be 41. You are dead on. I am not touching the Redskins.
The Redskins. They might have a better chance of winning this game at New England. You want to? There are not going to be 25,000 people at this game.
Well, no, there'll be plenty of people there. They'll just be wearing blue and red.
Yeah.
No, I'm taking the Patriots, man. We're gonna X them out from the show. We might just X them out from the picks list. Who knows? We're not even gonna mess with them. Maybe.
I think it's no. I mean, I don't want to spend every week talking about them unless something changes.
Yeah. This is an interesting one.
It really is.
2-2 versus 2-2.
Think about Kyle Allen versus 8 sacks a game. I mean, that could throw him off.
Yeah, Gardner Minshew. This kind of reminds me of the Jeremy Lin thing in New York a couple years ago. He's kind of got everybody all fired up. He's got the Uncle Rico thing going on. The Panthers somehow I'm not sure how the Panthers giving anybody points, but the Panthers are giving up 3.5 points this week against Jacksonville.
You feel like one of these quarterbacks is going to have a bad game on this day.
Well, which one is it?
That's the question. But don't you agree with me? This is not going to be a game where Minshew and Allen have great days.
See, I wish I had a little more clarity on what the Jalen Ramsey situation like. Is he sick? Is he having kids? Is his back hurt?
I don't know, but it's something different every 3 days.
Every day. One day
I wait on him to say he had an encounter with a UFO and just isn't willing to play.
It's insane.
Does nobody want him, or are they asking too much? Because I mean, something's up.
I think the price is kind of high right now, and as it should be. Look, he's he's one of the best cornerbacks in the game. BG, this is a tough one.
I know what you're going to do. You can't stay off of this, and I'm not going to say anything until after you do it. But go ahead. You know what you're going to do.
Listen, I'm taking Jacksonville.
I am too.
I'm taking the Jaguars, man. I'm going in on Minshew mania.
We have not corrected the offensive line problems in Carolina, and I think this Jacksonville defensive line is going to give them some serious issues.
Yeah.
I think this is a really ugly, low-scoring game. I think this is like an 18-12 kind of affair.
Let me take it back. I said I think Jacksonville wins the game, but I see this thing being like a 20-17 kind of things. I misspoke. I'm going to take Carolina and the 3.5, but I think Jacksonville wins. I think a 3-point win.
I'm going to take the Jaguars and give the points.
Next on the list, we talked about it a minute ago. Look, I don't want to go here in January, but in October, they're coming in our place. The Green Bay Packers, the Dallas Cowboys, the Cowboys, America's team, your future Super Bowl representative from the NFC.
From 2063.
No, you saw the ESPN most likely the football power index most likely Super Bowl matchup.
You need to make up your mind if you like ESPN or not.
Listen, you know the power index, the most likely Super Bowl matchup is the Patriots and the Cowboys. The second most likely Super Bowl matchup. It was the Chiefs and the Cowboys.
Wrong.
So clearly, what that tells you is the Cowboys are the NFC favorites.
Nope.
They're going to get this one. The
Cowboys aren't going to win another game this season, man.
Man, please.
We're going to win.
Are we talking about Dallas or are we talking about Washington?
We're going to win more games than y'all.
Oh, boy.
We've already
won more games than y'all going to win this year.
You're right.
Cowboys and 3.5 again.
What is this? That half point, man.
It's that half point. I think I'm going to take Green Bay in the points. I think Dallas wins one super tight. Dallas wins not by more than 3.5.
You know me well enough to know that I'm trying to win. I don't have fandom when it comes to picks. I think Green Bay is due for kind of a bad game. I think they've been kind of...
I feel like they kind of had that...
Stumbling forward a little bit.
They kind of had that Thursday night, though. They had some bad breaks against Philadelphia. They're going to get some things right this week.
That was week one, though. I don't know that was...
I'm talking about last Thursday.
Oh, I got you. Where
the fans were fighting.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys to win this thing by about a touchdown.
All right, Colts at the Chiefs. The Chiefs did not look sharp in Detroit last week. They are giving up 11 points against the Colts. Listen, they're coming back home. I think Detroit is better than people want to give them credit for.
They're a good September team. Guess what? It's not.
Yeah.
It's not September.
The Colts, listen, the Jacoby Brissett thing, he's played pretty well.
Yeah.
But I think the Chiefs are as good as it gets in the NFL.
We've seen what Jacoby Brissett's going to be. He's got about 20 starts under his belt now. But we've seen...
He's a Dwayne Haskins.
He's
Dwayne Haskins. He's a future Dwayne Haskins. Give me the Chiefs. I'll give the points. I think they right the ship. And
I haven't seen Patrick Mahomes look bad 2 weeks in a row yet, and I don't think he starts now. Give me the Chiefs big.
And finally, we usually don't have the Monday night gig, but since we're doing it on Tuesday, and this Monday night game is really good this week. Unlike
for the last time for about 2 months.
Yeah, unlike some of the other ones we've gotten. The Browns going to San Francisco, BG, and here's one. The Niners are favored in this game by 4 points.
I'm going to trust in the Niners defense here to win this one by at least that much. I think it's going to be a big atmosphere. I'm not sold on Cleveland. Cleveland still, to me, looks like an all-star basketball team that's sort of been thrown together, and they can look really good or they can look really bad, but I don't know that they've got that chemistry yet. I think San Francisco wins this thing by about 7 points.
I don't know what to make of the Browns.
I
don't want them what to make of them because they go out and they look and then they go to Baltimore this past week and everybody thought, okay, this is the Ravens, and they just absolutely torched the Ravens. I like Nick Chubb. I don't think you're going to get that Nick Chubb every week. You might not even get that Nick Chubb
one more week. My fantasy team hopes we do.
But I'm also not sold on the 49ers. I'm not crazy about that. I'm not buying all the 40. They're good, and they could very well make the playoffs. But I'm gonna go with Cleveland in this one. I'm gonna go with Cleveland. Take the points. Again, I think this is a really intriguing one. I think it's another one that's really tight. I think of the 5 NFL games we've got 4 really good ones, and then one that is going to be interesting to watch, if for nothing else, to see whether or not Daniel Snyder steps down from the box at halftime and fires a man on the sideline.
You literally have the most functional NFL team front office against the most dysfunctional. I mean that when I always say that the Redskins, every NFL team has as much talent minus a couple of key positions as everybody else. It's not a talent issue. It's what happens off the field, in the front office.
No, look, you're dead on. When you always say that there's something something going on. There's something involved on the inside. You are
There's
spot
no
on,
other
man.
way to explain it.
You're spot on. 140 is in the books. Again, you can email the show. Let us know your picks and play along. Surely you could do better than BG and I most weeks. You can get those in on Twitter, Facebook. You can email them at CarolinaBorderWar@gmail.com.
It's not for the faint-hearted.
No. And like I said, I texted you Sunday morning. I said, man, 4-1 on the college.
You remember
games.
back when we just picked them outright, and every week we'd be 8-2?
Yeah.
Not
Those
so
days
much
are long
anymore.
gone. Like and subscribe to the show, whichever platform you use. Again, you need some work done, need some remodeling, some construction. Give my friend Rob a call at Southern Exposure Construction. Rewind the show. Then I said the number at the beginning. Give him a call. BG and I are out. We will see you next week. Are we doing like Hail to the Red? Are we doing like a Redskins thing on the way out? Or
No.
How come?
Screw the Redskins.
Why?
Screw Dan Snyder.
No. We're going to send Dan Snyder some flowers. And Jay Gruden. We're going to send him some money so he can keep paying Jay Gruden.